I had to borrow a pot from my girlfriend's mom. I didn't have anything big enough in my apartment, and even then it was probably like a 3-gallon pot.
Right.
So I ended up, I didn't have a wort chiller, so I used a couple bags of ice. This was rudimentary home brewing.
Right. Home brewing to professional brewer. There's a big sort of gap there. What was the transition like for you? When did you start pursuing a career in brewing, and how did that first start?
Well, I was a home brewer for probably a good 7 or 8 years before it felt like a realistic plan. And even when I decided to do this, it really was barely a realistic plan. It all worked out, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But, so I was living in New York City, and I was working in the finance world. And I actually quit and took a job at a local brewery. I would not have been comfortable making a jump from home brewing to having my own brewery. I really wanted to learn from other professional brewers, because while the technique is the same, the actual practice is so different. You have much more complicated equipment. You're using either an enormous steam boiler or a direct fire kettle. It's much more dangerous. There's a lot of things you have to learn.
If something goes wrong, you don't lose $40, you lose thousands.
Exactly, that's the thing. You don't want to dump a lot of 1,000-gallon batches down the drain.
Do you remember what the first homebrewed beer was that you made?
Very clearly. I was a German minor in college up in the Bay Area.
Is this where your love of all these different, you said you'd like Berliner Weisses and all these different styles?
I do have a soft spot for German style beers.
Fantastic.
Yes, Pilsner, a nice German Pilsner is
great.
Nirvana. But I also love Belgian beers, and it's hard not to love American beers these days.
Right.
I'm an equal opportunity beer drinker. But I had a TA in a class I was taking was an avid home brewer, and he encouraged me to pick up the hobby after I gave a presentation on beer in one of my German classes. And I did. I went to Oak Barrel Winecraft on San Pablo Avenue in Berkeley, and sort of bought a kit for a nut brown ale.
Oh, nice.
And I had to borrow a pot from my girlfriend's mom. I didn't have anything big enough in my apartment, and even then it was probably like a 3-gallon pot.
Right.
So I ended up, I didn't have a wort chiller, so I used a couple bags of ice. This was rudimentary home brewing.
Right.
But it turned out well enough that some friends, who opened those first bottles with me, they didn't die, and they said, "Yeah, okay, fine, let's open some more."
Step one, no one died. Yeah. Step two, they enjoyed it.
Everybody enjoyed it, and it really becomes, it's the sort of thing where homebrewing is such a mix of sort of art and science. It really allows you to be creative, but also allows you to kind of nerd out on the things that you want to nerd out on. And that's why it's such a great hobby, I think. And brewing in general, it's just it's a great thing. It's something that humans have been doing for thousands of years.
There's also that love of just handing something that you've created and then seeing people's faces light up or seeing their opinion. I mean, do you still get that today with these, when you see people drinking the beers that you designed?
I do. Walking into the tasting room on a busy Friday afternoon and seeing a room full of people sitting there drinking beers that maybe I'm not brewing myself anymore, but that I've had a hand in, or like California Ale, which was based on a homebrew recipe. That was the first beer that Telegraph brewed and launched with.
And that was one of your
That was one
recipes.
of my homebrew recipes. Yeah, it's changed a bit over the years, but at its heart, it's still that beer that I was brewing in my kitchen in Santa Barbara. And that's a great feeling. It's just a wonderful feeling.